Right. So module one, let's dive straight into it. So setting your goals. This is super important just because I can teach you how to sign clients on LinkedIn. I can teach you how to generate appointments, but if you don't have a goal, if you don't know how many people you need to reach out to, for instance, if you don't know how many people that need to show up on your calendar, if you don't know how many people you need to close, how are you going to get to a certain goal? We all have like a number that we want to reach. But if we don't set the goals, if we don't know what to do every single day, our daily revenue generating task, how the hell are we meant to get to our goal? And so I'm briefly going to go over pretty much how to get there. Super simple. And it's actually not too bad when you think about it. For instance, my goal is to get to make 100K a month. And so I do know I'm going to be able to achieve that because I've set goals and I do daily things to make me get to that goal. And so if you don't have a goal, then you're just going to be like not really understanding what to do. You don't understand when it's going to be a good day. You don't understand when it's going to be a bad day. For instance, let's just say I'm driving, I'm from London and I drive to Paris, but I'm not using a sat nav, so I don't know how to get to my destination. It's literally like that. A lot of people are not in just in business, just in life. Like you have a goal, you don't actually know what to do, the daily activities to get there. And so setting goals is the first step into turning the invisible into the visible. Tony Robbins. If you don't know Tony Robbins, you're living underneath a rock. He is a really successful coach, a really motivated guy, and he's helped a lot of people. And so he's basically saying that if you don't set your goals, like you're literally invisible. Like you're literally an invisible person. You don't know what you're doing. If you do set your goals, you will turn that invisible person into someone very visible. And so make sure that when you are actually doing not just LinkedIn, anything in life, you actually have a goal and you know what to do every single day in order to get there. That's why, personal trainers, if you're looking to lose 20 kilos, they'll give you like daily things every single day in order for you to achieve that. You don't just like second guess. They'll give you like a proper plan, etc. So make sure that you are knowing and you know what to do in order for you to achieve this. And so we want to calculate a few things. So I've got a few things in here, and all this is going to be in the free community. In order to access these documents, you need to join the free community. So we've got here an ROI calculator. We've got metrics to track, and we've got essentially how to reverse engineer your goals. So we're going to firstly start with this one here. This is my own personal one that I actually created at the end of last year, and it just goes over everything I need to do to get to 1 million a month, which is about 83,000. 1 million a year, sorry, which is about 83,000 a month. And so, in order for me to achieve this, I need to sign 143 clients. I need to adjust for obviously cancellations because when I'm booking meetings, people are going to cancel. So that I need to make sure, okay, like let's just say I book 10 meetings, 2 or 3 people might cancel. And so I need to obviously take into consideration that I'm closing at right now 25 to 30%. And so out of every 10 calls I have, maybe 2 or 3 become clients. So I need to take into consideration. For instance, your sales conversion rate might be 10% or 5% or 50%. So you also need to take that into consideration. You need to track that. How many bookings do I need? Obviously, super, super important. Um, and then, so from what ChatGPT literally told me, I need 1,020 booked calls, and that accounts for obviously no shows. I need 714 actual sales calls. This is the whole year, by the way, so that actually doesn't work out to be too many to close at 25%. You need to close 179 clients to hit your revenue target after cancellation. So out of 714 deals, I need to close at only 25%, which is only 179 people, which is super, super doable. I think it works out to be about 85 meetings a month. And out of 85 meetings, as I said below, we'll go into that. I need 12 clients. And so this is the monthly breakdown. So let's just dive straight into it. Let me actually put this a bit more bigger so you can see it. So 83 grand a month, monthly target. So that 12 new clients, they need to jump on about 80 calls to close 12 people. And right now in my business, I'm only taking sales calls. I've got people helping me service delivery. I've got people bringing in clients. So I can take 80 calls in a month. I can take 6, 7 calls a day, no problem. So you need to figure out, your schedule and make sure that you have time to do the most important thing in your business, which is taking sales calls and bringing in bringing in clients and bringing in new customers every single day. So that's obviously 15 adjusted for cancellations too. 60 sales calls needed per month. Sorry, it's not even eight. Yeah. So 85 booked calls per month, 60 sales calls needed per month with a 25% close rate. And that only works out to be 2 qualified sales calls per day. Like, take into consideration weekends too, because I literally work 24/7. I have some VAs working over the weekend. They don't work during the week. And so when it comes down to it, when I go to sleep every day, I'm thinking, okay, have I booked 2 qualified sales calls? Because booking sales calls is easy, but booking qualified consistently every day, that's when it gets a little bit tricky. And I've obviously had difficulties doing that, hence the reason why I'm telling specifically qualified calls. That's going to get me to my goal. Anyone can just book sales calls with a random guy that you pitch and he's interested to find out more. But how qualified is he in order for him to buy off you? And so, guys, your goal might be only like one qualified sales call every 3 days, or 3 a week, and it's literally that easy. But because you haven't broken down your goal, you don't know how to get there. You don't know like what's a good week, what's a good day. The majority of you would be happy with a couple of sales calls a day or 5 qualified sales calls a week, and it's literally not difficult, especially if you're messaging 100 people a day, or you've got an automation, you've got a VA helping you, or you're creating really good content. So that's what, Monday to Friday, that's 500 messages out. 500 people you message, you need 5 people to book a call with you. So it doesn't actually work out to be too bad. So make sure that you are setting your goals. Like, essentially, you can do it like this. I'm gonna put this all in my community. So feel free to see the way I've broken down my goal, and you can do the same. Um, and that's literally it. So let's go back onto here. Let me show you the ROI calculator now. And so the ROI calculator is super, super useful. I used to use it on so many sales calls. It used to actually make me close so many deals, because as a business owner, I can tell them, listen, if we expect you to get, so the number of bookings that we expect you to get, let's just say it's 12, and you're closing at 25%. So I'm literally telling them on the sales call, like, okay, how many bookings do you want? Okay, what do you close at? How much do you charge? And then it just gives us, okay, like, if I get you 12 qualified calls, qualified, I mean, they show up, they fill out the right questions, they're your ideal clients, they're your dream clients. And let's just say right now you're closing at 25% and you charge 3 grand. And so that's 3 clients signed. So we only need to get you 12 bookings out of 30 days. We need 12 people we need to book you 12 meetings out of 30 days. So that's like 1 out of every 5 days we need to book a meeting. So it actually doesn't work out to be that bad. And that's the way I explain it to people on a call. And they're like, okay, this ain't too bad. And that's why, I've signed over, I don't know, 60 clients on LinkedIn since I've started, because of this ROI calculator. And so, like I said, I'm going to leave this in the community. So feel free to check it out. Super important. I love using this. I still use it on sales calls to this day. You guys can take it. I don't really care. Use it yourself. I did not create this, to be honest with you. This is something I got from another program. It's super useful. It's definitely changed the way I look at my business, and it's a lot more easier for me to reverse engineer my goals, and it's easy for me to close more deals using this on sales calls, because at the end of the day, business is a numbers game. Especially if you're speaking to business owners, you kind of want to see the numbers. If I was to get sold to, I kind of want someone to break it down like this, like mathematically, logically. Okay, so let's just say I charge 5K and he said he can get me 12 qualified calls and I only need to close 3, and I make 15K. And so I'm 10K in profit because I've obviously paid 5K for him. And this is like every single month. Let's just say this is for 3 months. And so he can make me, 45K, and I only need to pay 5K. And that's what I literally tell people in sales, because I'll be, listen, you pay me 5K, you're potentially going to make 45K. And it's not even potential, it's guaranteed, or we work with you to achieve this, or we can refund you your money. And that's how you pretty much craft a no-brainer offer, which I'm going to explain in module number 2. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, take it. It's all going to be in a free community. So I need you to join the free community where you can have access to it. I'm not going to be sending this one-on-one. So don't send me a message on LinkedIn and say, can I have your ROI calculator? It's all going to be in the free resources in my free community. And yeah, super, super helpful. So make sure you're doing that and using this calculator. And so let's just go on to metrics to track. So this is the metrics that I've personally tracked, me and my team, in order for me to have booked, last year I booked 630 meetings, maybe more like that, with two virtual assistances. I had one virtual assistant for the first 6 months, and I hired someone else to scale. And so there's no ads. This is just people sending a lot of messages to people we can help, and then me obviously creating a brand on the front end and creating good content too. So this is possible for anyone, literally. Rain is not difficult. Like I said, a lot of you just give up. You just give up too easily. Essentially, you don't have time, you don't have the patience, you don't know what to track, and that's why you basically just fail. And so this is the key metrics to track, and this is what I'm going to be sharing with you for the majority of this course to go over and make sure you're actually doing this, because it's super super important. Like, no way that you're just not going to get anywhere if you don't know your numbers. I had a conversation with my friend last couple of weeks ago, and he was asking me for my metrics and my numbers, and I was like, some of them I could answer, excuse me, some of them I couldn't, like, because I just didn't have my numbers to a T. And now I've just actually changed that, and I've got my numbers to an absolute T, because it's just going to help you long term. And anytime something's going wrong in the business, you know exactly like where to go. Like, you just check the numbers. Anytime I speak to a client, if I'm mentoring them or coaching them, or my VAs, and they tell me, "Oh, Josh is not working. Oh, this is not working, content's not working, outreach is not working," I say, okay, that's fine. So I understand. Don't panic. Let me see the numbers. Let me see how many people you reached out to. Let me see how many people replied positively. Let me see how many people replied negatively. Let me see how many people you sent your candidate link to. Let me see how many people you actually pitched and shared your offer. Let me see how many people that have opened to a conversation. Let me see how many people booked a call. Let me see how many people has showed up. Let me see how many people has not showed up. Let me see your sales process. Let me see how you're taking the sales call. So there's so many different like metrics to track. I'm gonna try and keep this obviously as simple, but never like do things based on emotion. Like I mentioned in the earlier training at the start, you never want to do things based on emotion. You essentially want to do everything based on numbers, statistics, metrics, and essentially just fuck your feelings. I'm sorry, it's the reality. Just f your feelings. This is business. It's nothing personal. It just your feelings are like irrelevant, and just leave them outside right now. We're here to do everything based off logic. And so you want to track basically, so outreach volumes, the total number of outreach messages sent or emails sent. Obviously, when I was doing emails in the past, I would track this, but now it's literally just LinkedIn. So in terms of outreach, it's like total numbers of outreach messages. You want to actually track this. I've got a spreadsheet that I'm going to give everyone to, so they can track everything, and it's going to be super useful. So content creation, number of content pieces you produce. I feel like this is super important too. I'm still trying to get this to a T, but right now I'm averaging a client every 2 weeks, and I signed 6 clients last month, and 4 of them came for content, and I post every day, and so I know, okay, let's just say if I just carry on posting every day, I'll get 2, 3 inbound clients, and we all know inbound clients are super easy to close, and so I know I'm literally going to post every single day. I'm going to share with you guys how to post every day. It's very not difficult. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, how do you post every day?" and "What do you post about?" But it's super, super like easy. So I'm going to share with you how to do that in the few trainings in the next modules. So yeah, content creation. You need to track how many pieces of content you essentially you create, and what's the type of content that obviously does well, what goes viral, what gets good engagement, good impressions, and what doesn't, etc. So obviously LinkedIn, they have this whole big thing about commenting. So if you can, you want to track how many pieces of comments you do, whether it's 10, 30, 20, 50, because you can grow very quickly by commenting. All the gurus say it. And to be honest with you, they're kind of true. I don't think it's a most leveraged thing. A lot of people, I know Lara says if she started from zero, she'll just spend all day commenting on people's posts to get herself out there, which is fair enough. She's miles ahead of me, and she's probably right. But I just feel like there's a lot more ways to leverage your time on LinkedIn, and I personally wouldn't do that. I'll definitely be connecting with a lot of people and having conversations rather than commenting. But that's just my own personal opinion. And so you want to also track positive reply rate in terms of like the numbers, like 6%. I'll explain that down the line when I talk about tracking, etc. And so you want to basically, this is the percentage of outreach messages that receive a positive reply. So let's just say, for instance, you send 100 messages and you get 6% positive reply rate. That means out of 100 people, 6 people reply positively. And those are the numbers, guys. You're probably thinking, what? Only 6 people? Well, yeah, like more majority of time, people are going to say no. So just get used to that. There's going to be a lot more bad days than good days, but you only need to have one good day. You only need to get rich once. You only need to make it work once, and then it just becomes infinite. So don't worry about getting like no's, I'm not interested. Don't worry about getting blocked. Don't worry about getting abused. Remember, leave your feelings back there. Just do the work, and who cares? Like honestly, the amount of times I've been abused, my brother's been abused, we've been blocked, we've been told this, we've been told that. It's just part of the game. That's just outbound. Like if you're too scared about what people think, if you're too scared about people like abusing you, then basically just like click off this video and just find something else to do, because you just don't have the mindset in order to win. You think Elon Musk cares about getting abused? You think Jeff Bezos cares about getting abused? They get lawsuits every day. Their feet there. They don't like base they don't base their business and the moves they make in life and business based on feelings. They do everything through structure, numbers, and metrics and things like this. And so let's go then to the next one. Appointment booking rate 2%, which basically means that out of 100 people you reach out to, 2 people book a call, and that's when you can reach your goal. For instance, my goal is 2 people, is 2 people a day, and so I know, okay, if I've got a 2% booking rate out of 100 people and 2 people book a call, well, I know now, okay, I just reach out to 100 people every single day that are my ideal clients, and I can book 2 calls. I can get to 83K a month. Obviously, there's factors. I need to be at closing. I need to make sure they show up. I need to make sure they're warm. They know about me. They know, like, trust me, all that good stuff. But that's literally the metric. So that's also something you want to track. Sales conversion rate too. So sales conversion rate is obviously the percentage of booked calls that result into paying clients. So you want to try and get anything from 25 to 30%. Anything higher than that is good but bad at the same time. It could be that you're charging too low. So if you're closing at 50%, which basically means if you have 10 calls, you close 5 people, which is like really good. You kind of want to increase the price and keep increasing the price where it goes down to 30%. So for instance, let's just say you're charging 5K now and you're closing at 50%. The next 10 calls, you need to go to like 7, 8K, and not everyone's going to be able to, well, they're not, yeah, you get some people that just can't afford that, but you might close 3. And so I would personally, um, change that and make sure that you're keeping it at that price. So super, super important to track that. And so weekly and daily activities. So obviously, weekly outreach goal. I'll go through this now briefly. 200 to 500 messages, approximately 100 touch points per day. It's not very difficult. You can literally you can split it up, like do 30 in the morning, 30 in the afternoon, and 30, 60, 90, and then what's that? 30, 60, and then 40 in the evening, sorry. And so it's not difficult, honestly. Like when people say to me, oh, 100 messages a day, like, how do I do that? Like, it's too long. Like, it's literally not long, honestly. You can either do it or leverage a VA, which I'm going to explain to you how to leverage VAs. And you only need to pay them on commission. But 100 touch points a day will get you to your goal easy. The rule of 100, Alex Hormozi says it all the time. 100 outreach, 100 piece of content, 100. I don't know the exact ones he says, but it's true. It definitely helps me, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. And so expected response rate 10%. So 25 responses per week. Booked calls, 40% of responses should book a call. So 3 to 15 per week. Sales calls conversion, 20%, so 2 clients per week from sales calls. And so if I book 15, 20 calls, closing at 20%, I kind of know I'm going to sign 2 to 3 clients. So that's why when I look at the week and I've got like 10 calls next week, I know at least I'm signing 2 or 3 clients, and that makes me happy. So I know a lot of people, you jump on 10 calls, they're not qualified, they don't show up, they're not good fit. So I'm going to go over that, how to do this in this training. So make sure that you're jumping on calls with people that are obviously good fit, and just make sure you're booking meetings, whether they're a good fit or not, do jump on calls because you just never know. I've had so many times where I haven't thought someone was a good fit. I didn't think they had the money, but boy, they had all the money in the world and they paid me in full. So make sure that you're tracking these metrics, guys. Super, super important. Like I said, this is going to all be in the community. You'll feel free to access it. You can either send me a message on the communities as a post. Do not DM me separately, please, unless it's like something really personal. But if it's just general questions on LinkedIn, you can either drop it in the community, I'll answer it, or my brother will give you some help. And yeah, this is the first training, guys. Setting your goals and making sure that you are that you know how to get to your goals. So that's it for the training. I'll see you in the next one. Don't go into the next one until you've done this. So pause it, make a copy of the sheet, reverse engineer your goals, and yeah, let's get to work. Let's start implementing straight away. No time to waste. See you soon.